might be a little too
What's
deep.
something you did out of fear?
Out of fear, when my children were younger, I didn't embrace them enough. I didn't show love to them because I felt like I lost my mom at a young age.
Mm.
And so the fear was I would have to teach them how to survive without me.
Ah.
And so if something was to happen to me, I was so attached to my mother.
Oh.
So I didn't know what to do. The disconnection almost killed me. And so I thought in my young mind, I'm gonna love on my children. But I didn't do it enough.
Yeah.
And so of an idea I thought, you're young. I thought this was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And out of fear of dying, young. Because you remember, my mom was 36 when she died. And so I'm 15 years old pregnant. I was fearful that if I was to leave my kids, I want my kids to know how to survive without me.
We're just going to tell y'all Happy Mother's Day. All the moms, soon-to-be moms, mom likes, all the things. Happy Mother's Day. This is the Mother's Day edition for White Chair Talk, and I have a special guest, Keisha, all the way from South Carolina, and I'm thankful that she is here today. And if you've watched anything on my channel so far, I would love for you to like, share, and subscribe. That would be so greatly appreciated. But as I said today, this is Mother's Day. We're just going to have some questions that's going to give you some good wisdom about how it is in motherhood as adults, not the mothers of like little bitty children, but when you are a mother and you have grown children, what is the difference? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I've already asked her some questions, but we're just going to ask her this one. We're going to start off and I'm going to answer some and she's going to answer some. And we're just going to have a good conversation. So today, lessons learned the hard way. That's the topic. Lessons learned the hard way. So the first question is, what's the one thing that you had to learn the hard way as a mother? You want me to start?
Yeah.
You can start. Okay, I will say this one thing. I thought when I was a mom of little ones that I had to be perfect. I thought my kids had to look perfect. I thought they had to be perfect. I thought everything had to be. And I think I drove myself more crazy. Me too. Trying to make my kids look and be and sound and act perfect, trying to fix every part of their life. And it was just something that was out of my control. But I think that's one thing that I had to learn the hard way because it was harder on me thinking that I could do that and make that adjustment for my children's life.
Oh, that reminds me. When my children were younger, you talking about perfect. And I just wanted to be perfect. I didn't let my children go outside, and I was like, no, because they're gonna get dirty, and I don't want them to be dirty. And so for a long time, they would want to go outside and beg to go outside, but I'm like, because you're gonna get dirty. And I remember, and they were like, "Oh, we can't go outside." Like, no, because you're gonna get dirty. They gotta clean you up. Because I just want them to. I didn't want someone to think that okay, her kid's not dressed good. They got on them, and they look this and that.
Yeah.
But I realized that I was taking away from their childhood. I realized that was just I was overthinking things.
Right.
And so I said, it was their father. He was like, "Let them turn and go outside," and I said. They were so happy to go outside, and I'm looking like Jesus. I was gonna, because of how I thought, I wanted to be perfect. They're gonna miss out on childhood on outside playing.
You thought that?
Yeah, I'm like, here I go. I'm the mother, and I'm not gonna allow my children to be children.
Okay.
And so because I don't want them to be dirty.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't go to you.
Yeah, and first time somebody see your child with something spilled on their shirt or something, they don't have their churn clean,
right?
Or the churn clean the dirt, it's a problem, but it's a part of life. And because I was thinking about what everybody else had to say, I was stopping them from being children.
Yeah, that's that perfection thing. And at the end of the day, nobody really cares.
Yeah,
they don't care, and nobody really is going to remember. Nobody's going to remember this kid was dirty that day. Now, if I see if his kids are dirty all the time, that might be
Then there's a
something.
re-
But if
Yeah.
they're outside playing, I'm like, so at what point can you be dirty outside and be a kid and nobody cares? That's the time when you can. Now, if I go outside now looking scruffy, you might get talked about this time. But the kids, that's the time. So that lesson you had to learn the hard way. I get you. Same thing for me. Okay, so we kind of addressed this question a little bit, but I don't think I answered it my way.
Okay.
The question about what's something you did out of fear before that you wouldn't do today. And since you touched on that a little bit, you can dabble in it a little bit if you want to clean it up or if you want me to go or okay. What's something that I did out of fear that you wouldn't do today? And that's a good question. Fear, I don't know if I would say fear. I think maybe fear of not letting people know that there was a problem. Fear of, because you want to be perfect. It goes back to that first question, being perfect. Raising children, I just thought I had to be perfect. And so the fear in letting somebody know, even though I was basically young, having children, 23 when I had my son, I didn't want people to know that I didn't know what I was doing, which is insane. You don't want people to know that you don't know what you're doing, or you don't want people to know that you don't have it all together and you maybe be a mess, but you're just doing the best you can. But that's something that I did out of fear today. Now today, we're going to seek help today. We're going to find somebody who's been through, we're going to find someone, so that's the difference between now and then today.
Yeah.
So,
See, for me, I had an aunt that when something I didn't understand, my mom was a mom that took care of everybody else's children. So this aunt that I'm talking about, my mom, basically she'll tell you my mom raised her children. My mom made us raise her children. And so when something go wrong, I knew how to do a lot of things because my mom used to have so much kids in the house that she did things for. So she taught us a lot of stuff. Like we used to have to do a lot of stuff. So when I had my first child, I was like, I knew how to do a lot of stuff, but there were things I didn't know how to do. And I would call my aunt on the phone and she was like the go-to person. I could ask her anything. And it don't matter what. And she never made me feel like, like, you calling me? Yeah. Like, what do you think about it? And she would just tell me. If I didn't know how to do something, I asked.
that's good.
I did, because I wasn't perfect and I didn't know how to do a lot of things. Warming bottles, changing pampers, and all that was fine. But it was the hard thing. It was like, well, what's this on them? What's happening? What? I would call my aunt in the middle of the night. She got her bed.
Oh, wow.
And she would come like, what's this on the back of her? And she'd be like, girl, that's a wingworm. Like, baby, get this. And we're going to daycare. And it's like, I was like, well, I didn't know what a wingworm was.
Oh, okay.
And so she was like, she'll come tell me, didn't buy this and buy that and put this together.
Okay.
And so I thank God for that, because even though I didn't have my mother, my mother's sister was definitely.
That's beautiful. And that's what it's all about. That support.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I kind of segued into a little bit motherhood now. I'm 53 years old. So how does motherhood compare to now than when you were whatever years old? And so I'm going to ask you this. What does being a mother versus now and then? What's that feel like? Or what's the difference that you can say you've learned from that?
Oh, well, once a mother, always a mother. But I think I'm more of a counselor now. I'm more the lawyer, I'm the judge. I mean, everything, because now that they're older, they still need mom. And then they still pulling on you in all kind of ways. Even though they grown and have children or whatever they got going on, they still need your information. And I think for me, my children are grown. It's more challenging now because of the fact that they have free will. They can do what they want to do.
Gosh.
They're no longer under your authority. They can, because they can make the decision on it. You can give them all the information and you can give them all the wisdom they want, but ultimately the decision is theirs. And that's the difference. That's the trigger right there, because you can't control them no more.
And not that we want to control, but it's like have a grip on the situation.
Right. And I think because we're older and we've went through some things, we try to teach our children what we know so they don't go through the same road that we went down. And because you have more knowledge and understanding now,
Yeah.
and you're trying to drop that wisdom on them when they're not, their mind's not there. They're not mature enough to get the wisdom that you have. Because why go through the same thing that I went through? I learned the lesson that I can teach you not to do it.
Yeah.
But they don't see it like that. So you have to, and then in life itself, you have to allow them to make their own mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. Motherhood looks like for me versus when it did when I was younger. First of all, I was young. And I thought that I was always going to be like that. For some reason, I don't know, especially after I had the twins. I thought that motherhood was just I was going to be a mom of twins and have my son and, my older daughter. And I was just going to be this mom like forever. I don't know. The twins made me really feel youthful because I was having babies, it just
Right.
made me feel like very fruitful and youthful.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that I was going to feel like that all the time. But becoming an empty nester started to change all that. I had to let all that go. All that I had built up in my head about, I need to take care of this, and I got little girls and I need to do this, and I need to, just do all the things as a mom. I got to make sure because I know they're watching, and you got to be, when I saw them start to ease away, and like you said, that control, that it's a false sense of control, but it made me feel like, they came to you. No. Empty nester now. My husband told me, he said, look, you might have to let them go.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's going to stress you out. And I learned, it just stress you out, meaning, you're always going to be worrying about them. You're always going to be, and you have to let them fly. And that was something that I always thought, the difference between now and then. I always thought I was going to feel like this young mom and grinding and raising your kids. But man, just like that, they're in college and they're doing their own thing. You can tell them do's and don'ts, but they're not in your house.
Nope.
They're not always gonna listen.
Nope. That is so true.
Yeah. So how did you stay connected with them? The children that left out the house. How did you stay connected with your children without controlling them? Because you got those helicopter moms that just need to know and be in every aspect of life.
It wasn't. I wanted to be in control, even as an adult. It wasn't until I had a conversation with Tyrone, and he said, "You do it too much." He basically said, "You got to pump your brakes." He said, "You're talking to them like they're still children, not realizing they are adults." And he said, "How you talk to them when they were younger, it's not how you talk to a grown man and an adult woman." He said, "You have to change up your formula."
Oh.
He said, and if you don't change that up, then you would not have a relationship with your children because you're going to push them away. So so for me, it was like, either you're going to compromise or you're not. Either you're going to change or you're not. You can't still be a dictator. And so it was like, okay, I don't want to lose my children as adult in the process. And so I have to move back up. Allow them to make mistakes, allow God to teach them, take them through training, because we all had to get training too, and allow them to they're going to mess up. They're going to do things, but knowing that you can't dictate everything and you can't control them anymore. So instead of trying to wanting to be the boss, take a backseat.
Yeah.
And allow them to be them.
And when you said that was so good, change the formula. Changing the formula is awesome because everybody's formula is different. Because you got kids that are adults, but they're still at home. You got kids that are adults and they're at school or away, and they come home. And you got some kids that are adults that just they never Christmas time they're not come home because they got their own family.
Yeah.
So the formula looks different, but there's still some parents that can definitely try to hone in and control. And control looks, it's not like it has to be, because control is, I think it benefits no one.
No.
Because we don't want to be controlled.
And it damages the risk. I'm telling you, it was to the point I was really bad with it. I was dictating their home. Like, it was to the point was, oh no, your house has to be clean. This has, I mean, it was like how I did my home. And I was in there going to correct them stuff. Like, I'll go and change their whole cabinets and around. And like, this ain't how you do it. This is that. Because I want to do it my way.
Right.
And I had to realize,
No.
you stepping over your bounds. And before, you know what? But I have one son. Like, that's how you do it, Mom. I'm gonna do it how I want to do it.
Right.
And like this, then when he come in, when you come to my house, I got an all white room, and you can't go in it. I'm like, you was all over my house, and now I can come to your house, and I can't.
Oh, you can't sit down.
You can't sit here. You got a white room. I don't want nobody there. No, not even you. And I'm like, is it crazy? And you tore up my house, and you did all. But I had to respect the fact that it's his home. I didn't like it.
You should have got a shoe and threw it back in that way.
What we gonna do is when we go spend the night at his house, we gonna eat cereal, we gonna eat food, and we gonna put it all under the bed. We gonna do what they did to us because I think it's only right for them to show them how it feels to clean behind them. Now they have their own house.
Okay, so I think I've got 2 questions because I see one here that I really like. Yeah, I'll say this. When it comes to wisdom, what wisdom do we have for the young moms out there? What advice would you give to a young mom having kids? You know, you have how many children?
5.
You have 5 children. Okay. So you got, people not having 5 kids. Not that much. I know that's having 5 kids.
They doing it.
Somebody is.
Yeah.
Somebody have 5.
I mean, I personally, it's a control thing again. I told my children they can only have 2 children. I honestly, it's the guys on the truth because I feel as though 2 is enough. Because
the advice you're gonna give?
I already gave it to them.
Oh, you already did. Okay.
Yeah, and one listen. She's not having
Please,
children.
a child on that.
She has 2 daughters, and I don't think she listened because I said it, but she just felt like it was too much when she had her second one, and she just didn't want to go through it no more. But it was a thought in her head because her mama said don't have more than 2, and she just said when this one done, I don't want no more. She went and got.
But you said you okay. What was the reason for saying?
I said I think because I was a mother of 5. I'm a mother of 5. Having 5 children, it's not enough of you to go around. And sometimes this one needs you, that one needs you. You can't be there you can't do everything
all the time.
And so, and when you have that much kids, somebody feel left out. Somebody got offended. And even if it wasn't intentional, they took it as an offense.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, but you was there for them because this one's younger. You might be older. If my oldest is 8-year-old than the youngest, is an 8-year gap. Well, I'm expecting you to know a little bit more than the little one. But I'm giving him more attention because he's a baby now. You feel as though I'm not giving you attention anymore. And you just got somebody, and you got everybody in between. I had basically 2 kids in 1 year. And I remember when my son was little and when the new baby came in, it was like, no, you can't hold him. I want you to hold me. And it was like, and you find it's those little things. I just think that having 5 children, you have to, and make sure you're prepared. I was young when I started having children, and I didn't understand that.
Okay.
And so if I would have did it different, I would have waited years. But you just can't be there for everything.
Yeah.
And it's like even when they get into sports and all that stuff, you can't be everything.
Yeah, I can see that being difficult.
It was difficult. I mean, I thank God that
but they did it.
I did it. And of course I had their dad.
We'll do it. That's the thing about the way
we will do it. But it's a lot because then you miss moments. Oh, like Mama, it wasn't
you know what? I think you can't. It's not that also you like physically miss it. You miss it up here. Whoo! I missed out on a lot. Like my kids will tell me something, and I'm like, oh, it's because I was working.
Yep.
Trying to figure it out and do this and be there and be present. When half the time, honestly, it's almost impossible to be fully present every moment that they expect you to be because you don't know that you don't know.
You don't.
You don't know. So I would say, as advice to a new mom for me, would be remember that your kids are going to grow up.
Mm.
They're little and you love them and they're cute and you teach them and they grow up and they get teenager and high school. And then one day they're going to be 25 and they're going to have somebody significant on their own. And guess what? You're going to have to get your life. Get your life because you're no, you don't, they will not always be there. So if you want to do anything, if you have relationships, things that you find that you enjoy, continue to do them. Don't forget about them because your kids will be grown one day.
But that's the point. We when we're young and we're raising children, we surround our life around our children,
We do.
and we don't realize that one day they're gonna leave the nest, and now you stuck.
Mm. Yeah.
You stuck. It was to the point when my children started leaving. It was like I would cook, and I'm so used to cooking for a big family,
Oh,
and I would cook all kind of stuff, and then it's like nobody shows up, and now we have all this stuff. And I had to reprogram my mind that they're gone. They're living their own lives. And it's like there are most of the time they're always on call. What you cook and the company get plates, but it's not all the time. They cook their own dinners. You know, they do their own thing. And even though I'm still mom, but they have their own life.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm now because I don't really like to cook a lot like that, so I'm good. But too, I had 3. Well, I had 3, but raising, in the house together. I had 4 children, but I took care of 3 of them. And I'm telling you, yeah. So I can see you cooking a lot. Okay, so last question for this Mother's Day. And by the way, I think you're a great mom. I want to say this. What is your growth that you're proud of that no one can take away from you? What's something that you've grown in from then to now that you're proud of and nobody can take it from you?
It was something my mom said to me. She said, she called me Mimi, so I had to say that. She said, Mimi, she said, there's one thing I want to tell you because I was pregnant at 14, I was going on 15 when I had it. She said, never let no one have an ups on you that they had your child more than you or your children more than you. She said, don't you raise your own.
Okay.
She said, because that's what you're supposed to do. You had them, you raise them.
Okay.
And so I said, okay. And I lived that. I did it. I did it. At 15, I had my first child. I had 5 by the time I was 24. And I lived that out. When I remember once they got a certain age, and after the baby, he's 22 now, but when he was 18,
That's true.
I looked back and I said, Mama, your girl did it.
Oh,
I raised up my own children. And that, it was hard. But I'm
and
very,
nobody can take that away from you.
and that's one thing you cannot say. You can say many things about, but when it comes down to me being a mother, I have flaws. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is I raised my children.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing. I'm almost the only one to tell mine. But I would say the one thing that nobody can take away from me, and I made on purpose, myself on purpose, intentionally do this to my children, and that was say I'm sorry.
Oh.
Say I'm sorry. If I was wrong, because you're not always right.
No.
I don't want to be that person that's like, no, and know you're wrong and then don't admit it. And that's one thing I said, I will do that with my children. I will give them that I'm sorry.
Mm.
I was wrong about that. And you was right. Even no matter how old they were, I was wrong about that. And you were right. And it's okay.
Because it was hard for me to say I'm wrong. Because I always thought I knew everything. And it wasn't until one day, one of my sons said, I didn't tell him he was stupid. I said, you're acting stupid. And it breaks him. Oh. And I found out later on, when he got older, it was like, but you told me stupid. I said, that's not what I said.
Mm.
I said, you're acting stupid. And then I realized that it's not what you say, it's how
Oh,
you say it. And if you're not careful, something you meant not to offend or hurt,
right.
they can take it a different way. So you have to be able to choose your words wisely.
Uh-huh.
And like you said, I had to learn how to say I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it meant more to me to do that for them. And it took a load off of myself. It let me release something. It's like, oh, it's okay. I don't have to be right every moment. It was freeing for me when I came to that revelation. But that's all the time we have. I thank you so much for being here and spend the time with me on White Chair Talk. So again, if you have liked this channel so far, if you've listened this far, please like, share, and leave a comment. And subscribe. Leave a comment. I would love for if you have any Mother's Day do's and don'ts, please leave a comment. So that's all I have.
Yes.
So again, happy
Happy Mother's Day.
Bye.